Hello everybody, whenever, wherever, welcome back to part number 7 of the active planetary cycle presentations. To cut time a bit shorter than before, I jump right over to the Word document I created. Today, as you can see, we are talking about Neptune and the cycle with Sedna in 1861, and Neptune with Pluto started in 1892. Neptune is the ruler of our age and all liquids. I mean, he is very nicely blue, and he stands for spirituality, our core beliefs, and the veils and deceptions we put around ourselves, and we have to transcend them to gain clarity. Sedna, she is a very far outside traveling planet for most of the time, but she is now near her perihelion, or approaching it slowly, but so because of that, even so, she is usually looks as traveling very slow in her 11,400 years orbit around the sun. But for that, now it looks as she would go much faster, even faster than Aries with a 557-year orbit, right? So it's just the time that she re-emerged into our consciousness. She was discovered not so long ago. But so, yeah, that's her theme. It's re-emerging. And it includes the feminine principle. And what we have suppressed or feel betrayed about, all these kind of things are themes. But sometimes, and that's why that's such a good cycle, with Neptune, because Neptune wants to gain clarity and transcend. And so when we have suppressed something, that needs to come into the open, into clarity, but then we can see even deeper, and we can see what beauty there is that wants to re-emerge as well. And it includes, possibilities. It's limitless. The feminine, it's more that creative, imaginational thing, So there are no boundaries. Practicality, that's something else, but that's the big world, right? So the two met on 25th of March in 1861, and as you can see with the date, it was just short after the March equinox, and so therefore they met very, very close to the vernal point and still in loose conjunction with the sun. And when the sun was here at the March equinox, they were already here, and so there was, let's say, a triple conjunction, giving even more emphasis on that. But because Earth is always opposite, we shall not forget Earth in Virgo, because also during their conjunction now, a few days after, it's still Earth is here in opposition and the sun just around here, So a big emphasis on that theme. As I said before, Neptune's aphelion and perihelion axis is moving very fast, much faster than any other planet. So he's kind of regulating, or ruling the age. And so in that time, in 1861, that axis was in middle of Scorpio and Taurus. That means the bull's head and the heart of Scorpio here on Taurus, where we had in that time, we had Hygiea, hygiene, maintenance of health in Scorpio, was on Taurus. And interestingly, Sedna's nodal axis is in the same sign as the one of Neptune. Neptune's in the middle of Capricorn and Cancer, and Sedna's at the end. The Cancer side would be more like under the lion's head here, right? So a lot of lion energy there. And here we have the cusp of Capricorn and Aquarius. It's of course, as all the whole middle to end of Capricorn is more sharing, it is finding loopholes and gray zones and things like that, but it has a lot to do about existing structures and finding or wiggling a way through it, but also collecting puzzle pieces or knowledge and wisdom that we can collect and put together to a bigger picture. So, and the application of that knowledge, first we share it, we put it into places where it can be collected again, and so then we have the sharing and collecting part of knowledge and wisdom, but also of things like in courts, or so about laws and things like that. But it's not only meant in the man-made way, but generally in that theme. And Cancer is more the, so when Capricorn is more the earthly part, so then Cancer is more the watery part, and so means more about the emotions. Here we have a lot about feeling safe, to grow, to re-emerge, and it's a little bit of a cleaning out, maybe more like a cocoon, or the can also be the shell where we go back and try to feel safe and please, and I have now my walls up and don't come any closer. So, but it also means our really very inner self, and feeling safe within that, and not having that impression that we have to be somebody else. We can feel that we are protecting ourselves. We are one in here, and we cozy and warm, and it's all good. And it can be beautiful, but it can be scary when we have a lot of fears and anxieties and things like that, emotions like that, and we feel everything that is coming like being a big monster, right? It is more and more, and so the pile gets bigger and bigger. But if we feel safe as who we are and within ourselves, then we can perceive that all like a wonderful flower that is all is opening up, right? So that's that difference, and we can then share in another way. We share knowledge from a total different perspective, and we receive it in a different way as well, because it's always a flow, it's an exchange, it's a polarity, and therefore the energy flows. So whereas at the end of the sign of Cancer, our the lion's head, we have much more, we have developed more, we are not so much in that fight anymore. Now we share, we create, and with in a brave way, or without even noticing that we are brave in any way, because we just are, and we put that out there, and we it's noble, it's generous, it goes out there, and we don't care too much what others think or don't think about us. It's more being in that self that we have developed in the more middle part of Cancer, that we have where we have that nest, this safe place within ourselves, and from where we can go out. We don't need to worry, because that space is with us, and we carry it with us. We don't need to feel threatened on that level. So that is very important, because that is where both of them, their path of action, so they both, they do work their energies on that axis, and I think that's very important. So especially when their conjunction here in early Pisces, where we have the galactic connection, right? We have the south galactic pole would be here, we have the north one would be up here, right? So we have a lot of energy here that comes from the galaxy, plus from Earth, yeah, because our cross is also around there. So we have a very, very important time here, that we see with all these connections we have to that area here, or this axis here if you want, as well as with the Sagittarius Gemini axis, where we have in early Gemini we have the anti-gain, and here we have the gain point, which means the galactic equator crossing with the ecliptic. So very important. And it's also around our solstice axis, so the crosses overlay. It's here with, you can see here is the tail, this star here, the black one, then Epikaitos, that is the tail of Cetus, yeah. So whereas the stars travel, or no, not the stars, but the planets, they are all traveling in this direction, and it seems as the stars, but let's say our equinox axis and the H's, they move this way, yeah. So it's going right opposite. So, and that's the same with the nodal axis, that is the lunar axis, lunar node axis is also going that way, as well as any planetary node axis. They go this way. in the, let's say, evolutionary direction, whereas here we have the daily stuff, yeah, into this direction, if you want. So Cetus is sometimes described as the sea monster that Andromeda would be up here, is trapped for as sacrifice to Cetus in the mythology. And so it's also a bit, let's say, all our the emotional monster of bureaucracy, or the societal structures, or the collective consciousness, or however you want to call it. It's this monster. We sometimes we feel like, okay, we can't be ourselves, it's consuming us, and we don't find a way out. But it's just the tail end here. So our equinox axis is slowly leaving that, and here we just starting it here, and you can see the head is in Aries. So we have that theme of, let's say, some kind of subconscious reactions, but we also have what we have learned from society, from the past in general, and how that collective consciousness or state of mind or way of thinking is influencing us in our own belief systems and mindset, thoughts, and actions, also about what is possible. And I think that is a very important part of life, right? I mean, what do we believe is even possible? You know, it doesn't mean it has to exist already. It's just like, wow, could that be? What a thought. Yeah, sounds great. But, well, yeah, maybe one day it will become possible. Maybe one day it will be reality, actual, for everybody to see, right? And the more open we are in this way, the more we will develop and see and invent and find whatever. It's the more we have of that openness, the more we can actually gain. And that's what the two are talking about. But if we are in fear here, then we shut down, we freeze ourselves in, and we try to keep the status quo, right? So, and then nothing can really grow out of that, because we shut down. So the Scorpio Taurus aphelion perihelion axis of Neptune in that time talks about the self-reflection. Yeah, it is when we are in fear, it is because something here in that value system is always, let's say, a part of that, right? When we have a certain value, we attach ourselves to something, yeah, whatever that may be, then we also want to protect it. We want to keep it, right? Because we may be in fear of having a loss. and to that we can react in different ways, right? So, but our our value system, what do we attach to in the physical world, but also what do we what feelings do we attach to? But on the other side, it's in Scorpio we have that deep, hidden, raw energy that wants to burst out. But if we let it out like that, it can be quite scary, and it can feel like it controls us instead of we controlling that power, right? And so when that unleashes, to say like that, can become kind of scary to ourselves. And so we have to pull it out into the open and look at it and face it, yeah, this self-reflection, and to see what it is actually and where does it come from. And then when we understand it, when we can, then we also gain control over it, and then we can use it in a creative, positive way. We don't need to be scared about it. So this is that intention, yeah, to look at the themes we have within. What do we attach to? What do we let reign ourselves, and not the other way around? And so that is that conjunction here, and with the collective, you know, can we collectively open enough to whatever kind of possibilities, and then also discern what is actually possible, or what does have a potential to grow, to bring more, let's say, a plan into it, to put it into reality, yeah, and give it more value, or material value, in the sense of yeah, bringing it to existence, not only as a brief idea or something, but into actuality, more in this sense, yeah. So this is the big theme we have here. It's that openness, and see clear through it, you know, that there is no limit, if you think about that, right? Because the mind, you can get anything, there can be anything, but we perceive it in another way. Maybe we can perceive it through energies and whatever, and then we translate it into some kind of pictures, if you want. And so we start to put words to it and so on. But that's the process, and if that openness in the beginning isn't there, we can't perceive it, we can't and we can't give any thought to it, because we don't even perceive it. So we I will in the end come back and talk a bit about the history, but both together, both cycles, yeah. So here in 2021, these last months, we are about 66 degrees away from the next cycle. And so we have already harvested, we have already seen the full theme, we have see where it leads us and what we have manifested out of it. And now we are more in that maintaining and improving phase of that cycle, yeah. So it's, in the end, it's harvest is finished, and now we discern, and we decide, and we also, we say like, okay, but this one, yeah, it's good, but you know, there is more potential in that, so we could maybe go further with it. So it's it's this kind of energy. It's creative in a way, but same time it's also a little bit in the ending. Yeah, it's not, but it's future orientated. So there is still a lot of energy within. When we come in 2025, we'll come to the 60 degrees mark, and there we will start more to relax the theme. It's still future orientated, and we have plans. We see the light at the end of the tunnel, but we start to slowly lose using less force, less active force. We will be more in the letting go, surrender, and more like being pulled in instead of pushing. So it's this more surrendering energy, but still in a in a positive way, letting go for the, yeah. So let it be, let it come to us. We go with that flow, yeah. But it needs also still a little bit, sometimes a little bit push, so that we are not like kind of pulled back. So we want to go further, yeah. We don't want to go back, we want to go further. So sometimes we need a little push, but it's not as much force anymore. It's more towards to be pulled instead of pushing, yeah. So also in 2025 there will be quite a lot of conjunctions going on. There will also be Chiron, Aries and Ceres involved in they all together, yeah. So they conjunct each other, and Ceres is anyway very active in that time. She will be also conjoining Saturn and Neptune. But you see, also Saturn and Neptune will have a new cycle starting. So that end of 2025 seems to be quite interesting time to look forward to. But don't forget to live until then. So Pluto, he is the transformer, right? So he is that deep power from within, you know, that it's bigger in the inside than the outside, yeah. This kind of, yeah, there is a lot, yeah, there is a lot to discover. And so, and that's what we do here, and we open up, yeah. We transform what we thought we are or we want to be, and we recreate, yeah. But for that something has to die, yeah. We make this space for something new, yeah. Not in the meaning of that that anything from before was bad, or without such judgment. It's just okay, now we have another task, another thing, or we invent ourselves new or whatever. And so for that old understanding or of self needs to fade out a bit, yeah. Some needs to die for the new to emerge. But it doesn't mean that there is no judgment in it, right? So it's just, yeah, we go from one stage to the other. I mean, we all go through these transformational states all the time. I mean, we are not the same when we are from childhood to adulthood. We are in this middle, yeah. That is a very difficult time, but yeah, then something new emerges, yeah. That doesn't mean it's anything good or bad, it just is, right? So it's this whoa and out and other and burn, and there it's very, very powerful, but sometimes also very painful. So their conjunction was on 29th of January 1892. Neptune's aphelion perihelion axis in that time is in 18 degrees Libra Aries, whereas Pluto's at 28 degrees Aries Libra. So just the other way around. Okay, so Neptune's nodal axis still same, it's still same today, and Pluto's around 25 degrees Sagittarius Gemini, just about 2-3 degrees away from Saturn's. And so this Libra Aries axis is very much emphasized. So Aries does hold a lot of forward energy, leadership, getting things done. It's fighting, but in a creative way, of course, right? It's like we had for a very long time, we have or still have. Aries is more in the springtime, not in the equinox time, not in March, but later. Yeah, it's in this sense forward, yeah, like this. But in the southern hemisphere, it's autumn, right? So it has a similar touch, but more, let's say, more mature, right? So there it is more like you have the full thing already, and it's more like preserving it, right? So it's this this axis is there, and we have this thing of equality and balance, and but also the energy, the physical energy, and forwards moving to, because we need that balance, right? We cannot only run, yeah. If we run all the time, we get tired, yeah. We also need to have rest, yeah. So we always need this balance, this harmony, and that's what we have more in Libra, what we have in yeah, Libra is back here, right here. So the more middle part, that is all still constellation of Virgo. So we also have that energy of birthing, yeah, because here in that area here is one of the areas in the in our, what we see, that new stars are born, yeah. So it's also creative, it's birthing, right? But we also have the same in Aries, but in another way. So it's they work together, eh? But here in late Libra, we are talking more about that balance of past and future, but also the harmony within, the harmony with other people. But sometimes when we seek too much harmony with other people, we may put ourselves under other people, and that can be a problem, right? Then we get overruled all the time, that we don't want. So we need to find that balance. We have to have that strength to stand for ourselves with our own identity. Yeah, I'm here, and so I have the same rights, the same everything as everybody else. So it doesn't mean that we harm anybody, but it doesn't need to be that we are harmed either, right? So it's this the thing, and so we don't need to put ourselves under somebody else. It doesn't mean we don't help or anything like that. That's totally different theme, right? So we have that axis here, right? So they meet, as so often, they meet here in Taurus, in middle of Taurus. They, for thousands of years now, and they will for another roughly 2000 years, meet always in Taurus. I have studied their cycles over a time frame of roughly 29,000 years, and I found out that they always they go here, they travel over to Pisces, then they turn, and then they come here over Aries, they come here to Taurus, and then somewhere here around the shield they will turn and go back. So they do that loop all the time. Yeah, I found that very interesting. So, and when they are in opposition, there is always Pluto comes back around here, and Neptune will stay in Scorpio. So that's how they work together, right? I find that super interesting. Back to Taurus and Scorpio, it's that middle part. We are talking about the environment we need, or the nourishment we need to grow something, whatever that may be. That can be a project, it can be in this way, yeah, it is gaining clarity about ourselves, about our values, and from that what we attach to, right? But so it's about belief systems and re-emerging as well, but it is a more earthly, more material energy here in Taurus, whereas in Scorpio, on Taurus, that is more watery and more that Pluto theme, yeah, this deep, raw, inner energy that we have, with all its beauty and maybe also scare. So there is a lot about the hidden, it is about secrets, about taboos, and Pluto wants to break them out free, and then we can see and we can master them, right? So, but we need to trust. We need to have that transcendent, clairvoyant view of ourselves, and with all that possibility and flow and everything, so that we can go with that, right? We have to trust it. We have to trust it to be an equal part of ourselves, and that we want to transform, that we want to go with that evolutionary push, yeah, to whatever that may be. And also in our, let's say, more materialistic way, or material world, it's about projects and plans and things that we have, that we value, and to trust in them and to nourish them, yeah, to nourish that what we want to create or be, and not the opposite of it, not that what we don't want. I mean, if we want to grow an apple tree, but we actually plant basil, yeah. So, and that's the same with the environment. Our for our body cells, for example, yeah, body cells is also water, right? So it carries memory, and when we focus on that which did hurt us from the past, right? Then we kind of relive it, yeah. We stay in that thing, in that big belly here, right? And we 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 have a problem to come out of it, yeah, that Sedna team, yeah, the re-emerging, right? So we have to find a balance within these themes, yeah. This is the past has a lot of value in the sense that there is a lot of information and wisdom stored, but we also need to collect a new one, right? So it is that this is that balance, that dance we go there, right? And we have to self-reflect, we have to discern, we have to decide, all of that. But when we want to grow something, when we want to bring something forth, we have to give that one what we want to grow the right environment. Otherwise, like with our body cells, when the whole environment within our thoughts, in the outside, everything, if there is a problem, yeah, then if that is not nourishing, then there is disharmony, and the replication will become the same like that, and we will create disease. So here we also have cord cutting, in the sense of when we attach to things that actually are not beneficial, we have to cut them out, not in a bad way. Yeah, I don't mean that in a war like type scenario. No, we just have to say no, and that has to go. I concentrate on that. So that's the kind of thing, yeah. And interestingly, you see Earth here with the moon, and the sun would be right opposite here. So this axis here is around or close to the nodal axis of Neptune, so giving an extra emphasis on it. Yeah, so it's like we have to ground that Neptune energy within ourselves, in our safety, trust, cocoon space of within self. Yeah, so that's the theme here. Now, at this time, yeah, so again, last few months of 2021, we stand at around 56% into the cycle. So it's pretty new. And Neptune and Pluto are in a 3-2 resonance. That means that when Pluto goes twice around the Sun, then Neptune takes 3 times, and it's pretty exact. That's why they have that thing here, right? They already were at that 60 degrees angle, but they interchanged speed, and so it did go the other way around. Yeah, it did go back. But now we are in a forward movement again at 56%, and we will go further until in June 2029 we will reach that 60-degree angle again. And it's pretty funny. The 60-degree angle is actually pretty harmonious, but it also does include a bit of, let's say, stress, a bit of challenge, so that we have that momentum, that energy to pull through. Yeah, because the 60-degree angle is pretty stable, and so it needs some force to push through that, yeah. So that push and pull, I was talking about in the last 60 degrees, and now we are in the first 60 degrees. So it's similar, yet totally different, yeah, because here we are growing, um, we are not ending a theme, we are in the beginning of a theme. So we may slowly start to know, okay, that is something new, and we see, okay, it goes in this or that direction, but without, yeah, we are in a initiating phase, if you want. We grow, and we imagine, we have ideas. It's creative in that way, but not mm, it's not actualized yet. That will come. So it's more the planning, and having that ideas, and yeah. So I think you get me, yeah. So it's more in that way. There is strength already, but there will be more after that 60 degree. There will be more, even more push, yeah, to action, uh, into the that growth, yeah. So you can compare it with a plant that has just come out, but now it is growing, but it's not that huge thing yet, yeah. That will come, yeah. So now let's look a bit at the whole history, yeah, from those 30 years, roughly, or 40 years in that time. Where is it? Here. So in the 1860s, there was the American Civil War, but it was more in an industrial way, and meaning that there were totally different weapons, more automatic in some ways. Yeah, there was totally other technology involved. There was the forming of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. England confiscated the land in New Zealand, first underground railway in London. Um, we have they found out the correlation or relationship between electricity and magnetism, meaning light is a form of electromagnetic radiation. We have antiseptics, we have dynamite, all of that was discovered and developed. We have the first description of genetics. We have uh, London Fire Brigade was established. I thought I would have had that much earlier, but I was obviously wrong. Florence Nightingale founds the School for Nurses. Yeah. And, whoops, yeah. And then, in that last decade of that century, we have more inventions, like a two-way telegraph. We have now Sherlock Holmes being published in London, Nutcracker, music by Tchaikovsky. We have the first, like, let's say, corporate business structure that has been developed or grown out of many little ones. There was a cholera outbreak in Hamburg, Germany. The first description of any viruses. They didn't know viruses before. And very nice. Yeah, there was a 50-year-old turtle named Timothy was brought to the castle Powderham. I forgot. I think it's in England somewhere, but I don't know. Yeah. So, and that turtle actually died in 2004. Yeah. So, with 150, more than 150 years old, right? So, impressive. In that time, it was also then that the bicycle became very widespread, but also slowly automobiles and cars were developed and things like flying machines or gliders and stuff, and so the people had those ideas, those, yeah, it's possible, yeah, so let us try, yeah, they didn't know yet, but hey, they tried, yeah, they had that vision, right? And so the same with kinetoscope, yeah, same kind of first kind of pictures in motion, yeah, that led to cinemas, and nowadays, I mean, it's no more such a big thing, yeah, but I mean, then imagine, right? So yeah, all these inventions, it's unbelievable what came out right after the conjunction, what, wow, yeah. So, and then but they also did discover radioactivity, X-rays, argon, helium, neon, krypton, and xenon, and probably more. So unbelievable, yeah, what in actually very short time has been coming out there, right? So, of course, I don't blame only these two cycles to it, absolutely not, but we can see how the whole energy shifted. When we now look at things like belief systems, yeah, uh, there as well, yeah, there was religion wherever it was so packed into a certain tradition, yeah, some older, some newer, it doesn't matter, but it was very in this very strict structures, yeah, very closed in, and it's how it has to be, and if not, then you will be killed or imprisoned or whatever. It's just there wasn't any room for anything else, right? They had to very stubborn, strict, and limiting, right? And now slowly everything's opens, and I mean, when we look today, and even if we compare to 100 years ago or 50 years ago, I mean, it's completely different. We talk about things here on a daily basis, which was maybe whispered behind the hand or between very close friends or something like that, like 30 years ago. And now it's just common thing, yeah? Everyday practices like yoga and meditation and all this, it's all totally normal and mainstream. It's actually in, right? So it has a lot has changed, and a lot has to do with this much wider, broader capacity of looking at things and having more more openness to whatever there could be, right? So that's the change of energy. And I don't know, I mean, we did such a lot of things in just like 120 years, and to think when it keeps on going this fast, I mean, you cannot even, I mean, I don't know how to imagine the world in 100 years, do you? And with that, I think we can close this presentation. And I can only say, I love it, don't you? So, I see you next time. Be fine. Much love to you all. You know the buttons, right? See you.